Greetings from the Whole Elephant Institute. Today is August the 22nd, 2022. Again, broadcast right from TripleLink building Aubrey kitchen space. So it seems to be becoming a routine that I come here around early in the afternoon. I try to wait until possible lunch hours busy, space used by the current students, UW students, make sure that this space is going to be allow them to use, and I will not be here when they potentially will be busy. And I wait until pretty much now it's already 3 o'clock Seattle time. I pretty much take the time period that most likely nobody would be coming here to use the kitchen, and I try to cook the food for the whole day. So today this is my creation. Check it out. Right here. There we go. That's the dish. Now I got my OJ, I got my pickle, and a cup of clear water, which is also boiled water, and then cool off. And I got my white rice. Okay, so white rice and a very large dish of goodies. That's pretty much the chicken that Mr. John Dickinson brought here from Costco. So again, like what I said, this chicken issue came into our discussion recently, and put Mr. John Dickinson on hold regarding his current position as a Seattle director for the Whole Elephant Institute, because the moment when I start to make sure that he follows the Whole Elephant Institute institutional policy regarding any items bring to me, it's not going to be a gift accepted by me, but actually a donation will be kept in record at the Whole Elephant Institute book. Oh, he had big trouble with it. He considered that it's something that he cannot accept that. He considered that everything that he brought to the Whole Elephant Institute, the Seattle office, is his personal gift to me. And I told him that I cannot accept that, okay? Because I am here as a worker for the Whole Elephant Institute, and I cannot take personal gift. I only accept the donations. Everything has to be on the book. So he started to want to resign his position from the Whole Elephant Institute, because he said he cannot have his name listed to be a donor for the Whole Elephant Institute. I think he's concerned about that this is something that's going to infringe his certain personal interest. Not really kind of material interest, but actually his, I think, other aspects. Now, I have encountered people who absolutely was furious when I mentioned that when I receive donation from them, they don't want their name to be mentioned, don't want their name to be listed, and it's only to me, not to the Whole Elephant Institute. They don't donate to the Whole Elephant Institute, but they want to donate to me. And then when I ask them, what is this about? Is this, about they against the Whole Elephant Institute? They say no, they love it. They support what the Whole Elephant Institute is doing. So I'm confused. I don't know what is exactly the problem. So this has been going on. Pretty much all my community members in New York, they only want to donate to me. Money, clothes, food, space, but they don't want it to be on the book of the Whole Elephant Institute. But I told them that this is about the Whole Elephant Institute. I'm not working for myself. I'm working for the Whole Elephant Institute. Everything I receive from anybody throughout my past 18 years are considered to be automatically donated to the Whole Elephant Institute. And I use those items, clothes, food, usually no money. If the money is donated, they directly is put into the use when the moment they donate. In terms of paying for the rent, for a period of time, I was receiving direct donation money to support the rent for the Korean, serving the Korean community. And our Flushing office for many years, actually also the donation for the rent, basically I don't put it into my personal account. It goes straight into the Whole Elephant Institute account and then use that strictly to pay for the rent. Even that had an issue because eventually noticed that the donor had some ulterior motives, tried to bypass the Whole Elephant Institute business account and try to directly establish a relationship with the landlord who hosts our Whole Elephant Institute office. So this financial matter for managing a 501c nonprofit organization seems to be very poorly understood. The principles of 501c3 nonprofit is very poorly understood by the general public. When they come to donation, I think they're not sure about what's the nature of the nonprofit organization, and they don't want to be part of this whole government connection. More and more I see American people don't like the government. They don't want to have anything to do with government. They don't want to vote. They don't want to get involved with the federal government. They want to just stay to themselves. So when the Whole Elephant Institute is, connecting, on the surface, right? It is really a non-profit organization that is helping the general public to receive service. In a way, it can be directly supported by the US government through the grant system. So most of the US government grants actually is given to 501c3 nonprofit organizations. So in every regard, in the general public eyes, the Whole Elephant Institute is connected with US government, and they don't want to have anything to do with US government for some reason. So there is really a big problem going on here. Also, there are certain people who don't want to have their name mentioned in connection with the name of the Whole Elephant Institute. As a matter of fact, it's because of their fear of being targeted by the CCP government for persecution. So you see, the CCP controlled the Chinese government and the current US government. People are not having trust in either government. But the Whole Elephant Institute is trying to serve the people, both the Chinese people and the American people, and want to bring Chinese people and American people together, and really hope, the government will do the right thing for the people, because what's the government for? What's politics supposed to be for? Supposed to serve the people, correct? But if the people doesn't even trust in the government anymore, and we have this nonprofit organization that's supposed to work with government to serve the people, we are in big trouble. I think that's pretty much, the problem that I'm encountering right now. Well, that funny thing is that, Mr. John Dickinson wants to also run for the state representative of District 37 of Seattle, and he doesn't trust the government. I think this is really ironic, So I was like, no, I cannot change my rules. You can choose, to donate, or you can take everything back. But I don't accept personal gift. I don't accept personal favors. I'm here as the head of the 501c3 nonprofit organization called the Whole Elephant Institute. I'm doing my job. So whoever brings anything to me, I consider to be a donation to the Whole Elephant Institute and shall be given receipt. I didn't bring my stamp from New York. So right now, I only keep a record of what I have received every day from the general public. And I communicate with them and inform them that this is a donation to the 501c3 nonprofit organization called the Whole Elephant Institute, and it's going to be kept in our record. And so basically, whoever donates to me basically means donate to the Whole Elephant Institute, because throughout all these years, ever since I started to work on the Whole Elephant Institute project here, in New York, and now I do not mix up personal things, family matters with business. So since I was persecuted by the CCP government, and my Jewish husband at the stage of Dr. Tang Wang went through a divorce, I consider to be illegal. So, but from his perspective, he wants to contain as much as he can for the family and prohibit me to use my previous resource to serve the general public. Although those were all my personal resource, I have all the rights to decide what I want to do with it. He also illegally blocked me from having access to my retirement money, to my own, financial resource in terms of real estate properties and all that. So that really needs to be, brought to the court to let the court decide how much actually I can mobilize to serve the general public from my past, journey. But in the same time, I also do believe that, I need to leave enough to justify my role as a mother and a wife, as a daughter, as a sister, and to make sure, the family actually is supported. I personally justify that by, if I, do great work for the general public, then I accumulate a lot of virtue, and certainly that's going to be the much better reward for my own family members, including parents, brother, husband, children, right? So I justify that and want to encourage all my family members to donate as much as they can and to simplify their lifestyles, cut down their budget, and stand by my side and together to serve the people, to fulfill divine missions, the fundamental mission that we, each one of us, carry when we come to the earth to be a human. I think that most people still don't understand that. They don't remember why they come to the earth and why they are now in the human body, and what the money they have right now, they have supposed to be used is most, valuable, most smartest investment is not to gather goods for themselves, and they cannot truly, allow the energy behind the money to be recycled into a resource that truly will be stored there for them and will nourish them and will fulfill all their, dearest dreams in their life. But I know it, I see it, and I'm practicing that, and I want to show everyone that it works. Okay. I think it's just like what Jesus taught. At the time when Jesus was walking on the earth, I personally didn't study Bible, like a true Christian should, supposed to study, follow the book, right? But I happen to have a lot of Christian friends, and they love to tell me the stories. Why? Because when they saw what I'm doing, they always say, hey, you are doing things just like what Jesus taught. And then they start to bring up, citation from the Bible and say, look, this is what Jesus taught, and you're now saying the same thing. So I thought that's very, very, encouraging, certainly. I think maybe in my past life, I know Jesus better than everybody else. That's why I keep on talking like Jesus, right? In terms of how to handle wealth in the human world, Jesus criticized this rich man, and we have all this heard the story about Jesus statement that to bring a rich man to heaven is as difficult as to force the force the camel to pass through the needle hole, right? I always remember that when the Christian friend Mr. Dun Zhenyan, Charles Yan, he was always by my side in my projects of the Whole Elephant Institute in Flushing, and he was the elder that I always respect and consult for important decisions. He always told me that, yeah, this is what Jesus said too. So in terms of money, for me, I always have this heart to use my own money to help others, and I never had financial problems. I always had more than enough. No matter how everything was taken away from me, even during the year of 2005, when I was labeled as mentally incapacitated by the King County, I think the family court, because of my own brother, Dr. James Bao, decided to quote unquote protect me by labeling me to be mentally incapacitated so that he can take over all the rights to so-called help me to manage my financial resource. Ended up he give all my financial resource to the guardianship system and the lawyers who work in the guardianship system. And for this house right now located in Magnolia, 2643 38th Avenue West, Seattle, Washington 98199. That beautiful house that I left behind for a business trip, and within several months, my own brother was able to claim the guardian for the mentally incapacitated Dr. Tong Wenwang in Seattle court, and confiscated all my personal belongings, everything that I left behind just for a business trip. Okay, he confiscated every item of it. He shut down my bank account, and he sold my family house. Okay, that was like only several months after I took a business trip to New York to build the Whole Elephant Institute, and left behind stories of negativities that spread like wildfire, and totally severed my relationship with the local Falun practitioners, and smeared my reputation. Okay, so that pretty much also severed my possibility of working closely with the Falun practitioners in New York because of what Dr. James Bao did in Seattle illegally, violating even the Constitution, but the Seattle court supported his action rapidly within several months. And that all happened right in King County, Seattle. No wonder the first case of CCP virus Wuhan pneumonia happened in Seattle, Washington. There is no coincidence. I really see that there is a big problem here in Seattle, that the rule of law of America is totally being violated. And throughout my 18 years, I could not get this case straightened up. And no lawyer in Seattle is willing to take the case. My research laboratory got illegally shut down under the pressure of the governor, then Washington State Governor, then Mr. Gary Locke, under the direct instruction of the Chinese Communist government. A governor of Washington State directly followed the order of the Chinese Communist government to shut down the most frontier life science research laboratory that was carrying out a cutting-edge frontier research project to examine the impact of Falun Gong to human immune system. And that offended the CCP persecutors in the communist China, but the American government, elected official, the executive position of Washington State followed the CCP government's order to carry out illegal activities to shut down a extremely important laboratory that the results of the research could have changed the policies, the fundings, the overall directions of many research fields involving the system level diseases such as cardiovascular disease, autoimmune disease, cancer, neurodegenerative disease, and this category of population during the global pandemic of CCP virus, Wuhan pneumonia, are labeled as immunocompromised people. Okay, so this is really everything is connected. In this world, you cannot separate out China from America anymore because it's a global village. Okay, what is happening to the Chinese people? If American people do not make a stand to say no when they see it's not right, they don't want it to be happen to them. If they don't stop that, very soon they will experience it. And that's exactly what's happening right now, globally. Okay, so 18 years ago, I was already warning the policymakers to watch out for the threat of the CCP government infiltration. I gave a speech at the National Press Club on October 21st, 2002, to the American government think tank members and all the press leaders who gathered in Washington, D.C. during the time when the CCP head Jiang Zemin was invited into President Bush's ranch house in Texas. And that was the moment that I made a diagnosis that the whole world is suffering from a CCP triggered malignant cancer, and that cancer already reached to a late stage. And the HIV/AIDS crisis is a phenomenon of the late stage cancer. And the cancer has already metastasized all over the world through CCP infiltration, through CCP's controlled government, attracting foreign investment, and all the nations all over the world, the leaders are kowtowing to Jiang Zemin because they want to do business with Chinese people. And Chinese people were enslaved by the CCP government and used as a bait to attract foreign investment. And the money from foreign nations were used for persecuting Falun Gong practitioners, 100 million, and other people of conscience and justice inside of China. So as if the whole world was kidnapped by the CCP to do evil. And that was 18 years ago. And that was the message that I was, sending out through my opportunity to give a public speech at National Press Club. Okay, October 21st, 2002. And basically that was also the beginning. As soon as I returned to my Seattle home, my Jewish husband, Mr. Alan Genitosio, immediately handed me a divorce document, asked me to decide within 3 days to choose between him and Falun Gong, and stating that he already consulted a Seattle attorney who told him that if your wife is practicing evil cult, you have the right to take everything away from her. That's what Mr. Alan Genitosio, talked to Dr. Tong Wang as soon as she came back from the trip, which gave a speech at National Press Club in Washington, D.C., and went to Houston, Texas, standing at the airport together with the international community team members of Falun Dafa practitioners, and watch that evil arrival. Jiang Zemin in that airplane was arriving at the airport, and the entire airport started to have this sudden dark cloud, and the storm and the wind was trying to blow us up. Was really incredible experience of the battle between good and evil, even manifesting into the human world. It was an incredible battle that the Falun Dafa practitioners were carrying out without the American general public understanding what's really going on. It is a group of truth warriors, the messengers of the Creator, who were quietly doing everything possible to safeguard the interest of American people, to protect the American people from the, devil's destruction. And I think it is time really for American general public to understand what is really going on in this world. Who are the Falun Gong practitioners, Falun Dafa practitioners? Why the CCP government has been treating particularly this group of people so, horribly cruel, and committing the kind of crime that never, is even heard of, known, or imagined by normal people, such as, to kill practitioner just for their organs to be used for transplantation and make profit. It's called live organ harvesting. A lot of American people, including my Jewish husband, consider that this is a showcase that the Falun Dafa practitioners are putting out, to gain sympathy. And it really didn't happen. Many years ago, he was always laughing at it. Oh, another showcase you guys are putting together? Because in his eyes, this is really not possible. Could be true, normal, good-hearted American general public living a lifestyle of comfort for years after years, already starting to really, become too comfortable and cannot deal with any truths that actually is so brutal, so cruel, so shocking. I think their mind, their heart is cannot handle it. So they hide. They pretend to be blind and deaf, and they don't want to deal with it. The truth is right in front of the eyes with all the evidence. A lot of people say, oh, we don't know. I don't want to hear anymore. Leave me alone. Okay. We don't want to see those bloody things on the street. It's going to harm our children. Our children will be scared and have nightmares. So you guys are doing horrible things, to, cause trouble. The Chinese people, overseas Chinese immigrants also say, you guys are causing trouble because you are traitors. You are doing things anti our China. So yeah, a lot of truth, because it's so shocking and because it totally kind of, demand people to change their mindset. A lot of people are refusing to accept it, and they turn around to blame those people who are brave enough to reveal the truth. So for me, my entire family basically started to view what I was doing to be a threat to my success. Therefore, from their perspective, they want to protect me. Therefore, they all stand by the side of the CCP government. They help the CCP government. They even, try to station in my own house and report back to the CCP government. Try every means to stop me from associating with, the Falun Dafa practitioner community. They spread lies to the Falun Dafa practitioners and say, she's not a practitioner. Okay, don't call her. Leave her alone. Okay, she's supposed to do science and she's supposed to be famous, and she's supposed to win Nobel Prize because she's super talented and she's supposed to, do that to contribute to the future of the humanities, health and wealth. So I don't think my family members are bad. I think they are very concerned about my well-being, and they just don't want to see their loved ones to suffer terribly because of a choice that they consider to be not very smart, because you're supposed to avoid troubles, right? That's pretty much the mentality of the modern people. But if everybody is like that, guess what's gonna happen? We're gonna all be bullied, kidnapped, tortured, organ harvested, and eventually we lose everything. Okay, so we cannot do that. We cannot afford that. And that's why, we have to understand that a lot of times, yes, you have your personal philosophy, habit, comfort zone, want to do it this way or that way. Like Mr. John Dickinson, he just wants to uphold a certain personal comfort zone. I understand. But sometimes even that, when you want to be a leader, when you truly want to make a difference, I'm afraid you're going to have to let it go. Okay, so that's basically my important speech to my team members and also to the general public. I will gradually clarify a lot of matters that even fellow practitioners don't understand, because many people, they come from communist China and they don't understand a lot of mentality of the American general public. They don't know the current dangerous state of the American government. So early years when I start to speak about, US government is in great danger because they are helping the Chinese government, and my fellow practitioners, they view my statement to be damaging to Falun Dafa's future. And they consider that I was dangerous and most likely I was crazy. My own family members consider all my statements to be crazy. So, they want to label me to be mentally ill. But I think they will gradually see that everything I saw 18 years ago now has been fully validated by reality. Now, American people, quite a lot of them are awakened. Chinese Americans, immigrants are awakened. Like the mom I recently talked to, Miss, Janet, Miss Michelle, and my new friends, that I see that they have this sense of justice and conscience, and they now also stand out, and they are willing to let go of their personal interest for safeguarding the future of America, because they know that this is about their children's future. This is about their homeland called America. So I'm an American citizen, and many Chinese Americans, they are American citizens. Yes, they love China, but they don't love CCP government. They certainly don't want to be enslaved by CCP anymore. And this kind of people will be more and more in America. And in China, there are 400 million openly renounced the association with the three evil organizations of CCP. So it's called San Tui, the three quits, right? So now it's over 400 million. 400 million figure reached on August 3rd. Okay, so it's really, I think it's a landmark, for the winning of conscience and justice globally, with 400 million people switch side from the CCP side to the good side. Okay, so who did that? Falun Dafa practitioners have done that. I call this a modern exodus. I view Falun Dafa practitioners are modern Moses. Whoever have been awakening the Chinese people to encourage them to renounce CCP by publishing the statement on the website of the Santui, which was initiated by the 9 Commentaries editorial office. The 9 Commentaries editorial office published 9 sets of articles that systematically reveal the true nature of Communist Party globally, but particularly the true history of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. And that was in 2004, December. And by today, more than 400 million Chinese people have embarked onto the journey of modern exodus. So this is the central theme of the Hoa Elephant Institute work, to thoroughly clarify the truth. Certainly, for what purpose? To clean up the evil and to spread the good. Okay, and the good nourishing, water and sunlight that are essential for new life. The Hoa Elephant Institute basically has been trying very hard to promote. It's called the 5,000 years of traditional Chinese culture, and also the entire modern science framework needs to be updated, and to especially modern life science. If talk about a human life phenomenon, it has to be put into the framework of holistic study of mind, body, and spirit. So that's the key mission of the Hoa Elephant Institute. And that's something that I will continue to educate our team members currently and the future team members, and let the general public to catch up and understand something that has been hidden, twisted, and the reputation has been smeared by the so-called mainstream media. We need to get that clarified in America, and to bring people together to understand the profound teachings of this ancient cultivation way called Falun Dafa. That is not just something about religion, political movement. Some people even label it as anti-science. I think that all scientists, especially the greatest, shall read the book of Zhuan Falun, Turning the Law Wheel, the teachings of Falun Dafa. Yeah, that's what I want to do, step by step, to let people understand. I think that's my role. I'm a very talented translator, not on the language only, but actually cross-cultural translator. So, I think I want to continue to do that important work through the Hoa Elephant Institute, and bring people together to cure that blind man syndrome of the modern world due to separations, artificial separations. Okay, so that's a message from the Hoa Elephant Institute Seattle office. From the kitchen, Aubrey is the TripleLink building for co-living. I really think it is a good model, but need a lot of support, and also management team really needs to be upgraded. And I'm also here to deliver solutions for TripleLink future. Alrighty, see you next time.